And on this tech deck, we got Adderan's natural ES335. He's had this guitar for 12 years. He was terrified at the thought of handing his guitar over to anyone. This type of response I have seen time and time again. The main reason he brought the guitar in was he could not tune it. Well, when we are done, I will demonstrate, as always, just how in tune this guitar will be. Now that this has been calibrated, you can strum all those first position chords like you're doing a folk gig or a bluegrass gig. And Adderan's tuning problems are over forever. Okay, Albert, a buddy of mine from many, many years ago, had shown me this trick for the 2-volume, 2-tone and 3-way switch setup, where you back off these 2 volumes to about 7 or 8, and same with the tone, just back them off just a little bit, leave the 3-way selector in the middle position, so at 7 I get both pickups. If I open it up, it goes to the neck pickup. And if I back it off, it goes to the bridge. So just by utilizing that one volume control, you get a whole plethora of sounds. In order to quickly get to the bridge and set up the intonation between the 7th fret and its corresponding octave at the 19th fret, we're going to put our original nut back into place. Once we've finished the calibration from the up to the end of the fingerboard, we'll come back and we don't have to worry about struggling to get that nut out because it's not glued in anymore. These were the values that we found all the way across the nut. The low E was 4 cents sharp, the A was perfectly in tune, 12th fret, open string, perfectly in tune. The B was also perfectly in tune. The only 2 strings out of 6 that were in tune. All of the other ones were sharp. So for those that have followed my channel, you will come across another ES335 that I'd done for Mark, who's a guitar collector I've done a bunch of guitars for. It was another guitar that needed negative values all the way across. So this is the quick wrap up on this 335. These are the Cobalt strings. They're 11/48, and it's set up for E-flat tuning. So starting with the tailpiece, both lugs were a little bit loose. The threads on this lug were wrapped with Teflon tape. You shouldn't use Teflon tape on the treble side. I used a very thin aluminum tape. Like the saddles are pretty loose in the casting, so I put some Loctite, blue Loctite, into the cuff of the casting here, not on the actual threads themselves, but just on the cuff. And that kind of firmed them up a little bit. This is definitely a candidate for a possible Faber bridge or Tone Pro bridge, if he decides to go that route. Right now it's original, works fine. I wasn't really impressed with the design of the bridge because there's no retainer spring, so the adjustment heads of these fasteners can tend to kind of pop up out of the casting. Thus the blue Loctite to kind of hold them in place, a liquid nylon. Now, the actual threaded posts go into the maple stringer, so they're rock solid. However, the thumb wheels were pretty loose on those threads, so I wrapped these threads with Teflon tape, both sides, and then I put a little 1/8 inch long piece of heat shrink on the threaded tips that protrude beyond the thumb wheel, and that allowed us to get a good solid press fit, so there's no wobbling or wiggling. The bridge is rock solid. Next, the bridge pickup was adjusted. It was way too close to the string, so that was dropped down, and the neck pickup was padded to level it out with the string path. This volume knob had a crack right across, so I swapped that out. We've got the lay of the neck is just beautiful on this now. There were a bunch of different spots that needed to be touched up, leveled, recrowned, and polished. So this guitar is now 100% tuning stability and playability. You'll hear it when we go into the studio. As I mentioned earlier on, it's mostly negative values. So these are the values for the D, which was cut in the most, the G slightly, the first string and the sixth string, the A string and the B string lined up perfectly. 12th fret, fretted note, and open string. The other four needed negative values cut. And you'll see on Mark's 335, also a custom shop guitar, needed the same treatment. Earlier we doubled up that strike plate for the truss rod. We bought back a whole bunch of extra threads of adjustment. This neck is now fully adjustable. We can get it dead straight or whatever amount of relief we need. So this is the progression I've chosen to blow over. And again, the reason I've done that is I'm playing all over the neck.